question my drive when I say that greatness has arrived. See, some strive to thrive, but most try to survive. I ain't happy with my 9 to 5. I ain't content living check to check.
Welcome to Innovation Somalia. I am your host, Abdullah Ali. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. I'm really excited. I have today Mohamed Warsame, who is a poet, who is a writer. What gets you into poetry?
Shoot, it's a long story.
Yeah.
So I hope you don't mind.
Go for it.
The origins. Story,
Yeah. I want to hear that.
So I came to America when I was about 9 years old,
Okay.
3rd grade. That was like my coming to America moment, like the Eddie Murphy movie, Big Shock, Big World, America. And then as I got older, I remember something that was very important to me growing up was hip hop.
Okay.
And so I appreciated hip hop a lot. The lyrical part of the hip hop and partially the culture as well, but really the lyrics, right?
Okay.
And I had a lot of appreciation for that.
Uh-huh.
And so I remember when I was really young, probably like 7th grade.
Okay.
There was a group of kids.
What made it more appreciable to you?
The
way it rhymes.
So rhyme, obviously, and then wordplay. So like rhyming things together was and when I was much younger, I was my learning style was more rhythmical. So if there was a rhyme and rhythm to it, then I could learn it easier, and that's what the teachers like used in school for me as well.
Okay.
But in 7th grade, there was a group of kids, like all of us, we really liked rapping, and we all would like rap battle each other in class and like at lunch and I remember me and this one other kid kind of had like this feud in school because of like I thought I was the best rapper in school. He thought he was the best rapper in school. We would always just rap at each other, and we would have these battles literally at lunch every single day. And the teachers would sometimes come in and peek and like, what are these kids doing? But it was nothing malicious, just us rapping back and forth. Right. And I remember something that happened that kind of made me break away from the hip hop aspect of it. So obviously, as a kid that's rapping, vocabulary is not very high. There's a lot of curse words that come in.
That's right.
And so I remember one day on the way to school, I wrote this the night before actually. I wrote this real nice rap that I was gonna diss this guy, and I put it in the pocket of my khaki pants for school. The next morning I'd be ready to go. So that night my mom is going to go wash the clothes, and she goes through and this paper falls out. My mom picks it up, she reads it, she's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Who is this rapper that's writing this? What is happening here? And my mom brings it to me. She's like, what is going on? I'm like, that's not me. No. She smacked me upside my head.
Ignore it.
And that was the end of like rap for me. I didn't rap again. I didn't do anything that had to do with that anymore. Just
because the fact that she asked you about, or
no, the fact that she asked me about it. But like Somali parents, if you're doing something wrong, there's discipline, and I got the discipline. Got you. So she told me, hey, you can't do this anymore. I didn't do it anymore.
Okay.
And then fast forward a couple years, my freshman year of college, I'm hanging out with a few friends, and they're listening to me like rapping kind of some of the old stuff I used to write. Mm-hmm. And I thought, dude, you're really good. Like, you should get into rapping. But I'm like, yo, I don't want to make music. I want to like get into poetry because I don't really want to make music. It's kind of haram, like all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so one of my friends, it took me to this place where people do open mic performances. I go down there, I perform, I kill it. I fall in love with the performance aspect of it. And ever since then, I've been kind of performing and just getting bigger and bigger stages as I've won, alhamdulillah.
You mentioned something that you said, the haram part of it, because it was the discipline, or because of that you kind of sort of grew out of it, that made you feel like, okay, hey, maybe I shouldn't go down this path? So
it's both, but more importantly, it's the way that my parents raised me around deen and stuff like that. That was that took a driver's seat kind of in the driver's seat into my life, and my lens of looking at everything up at that point in time, and even now, alhamdulillah, is that I look at it through what's allowed in Islam and what's not allowed in Islam. So like becoming a rapper, I was thinking about it, if I'm making music, that's, the income is haram, like I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm making music, I'm rapping, probably not. And in order to be a good rapper, especially like we're looking at like 2015, 16, up until now. If you want to be a good famous rapper, you have to be rapping about specific things. You can't, like back in the day, you had conscious rappers, you had like, you know, Tupac and those kind of guys are just rapping about, you know, everyday stuff. But now you have to rap about, you know, drugs, killing people, women, all these things, and it's not something that I want, you know, to be like my perception and or something that I want to talk about, and it's haram to talk about.
MashaAllah, I'm glad you see that,
kinda,
because
yeah.
and thanks to your parents too. So
Yeah.
because I think they
Alhamdulillah,
kind of alhamdulillah, I think they kind of showed you the light on that end. Maybe the discipline did that a little bit. I don't know.
It definitely
Right?
did. No, it's both. It's both. Yeah.
Where did you go to high school?
So that's the thing. When I went to high school, I went to a homeschool. So,
Okay.
So that was part of the disciplining that my
Okay.
parents were doing as well.
Okay.
They kept me at home, so I went to an online high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where most of my high schooling was done.
Like the most of high school, like all the 4 years.
All 4 years.
All 4 years.
All 4 years.
Oh,
I
wow.
spent. And,
Wow.
Well, I did 3 years. I graduated
Okay.
early, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where high school happened.
How did that change your perspective of studying? Because, you know, it might be a little bit of challenge, as some people
Yeah.
say, and also at the same time, it might be a little bit easy because you are at home. You can do the work, you know, as you see it fit your time and
Yeah.
all that. There's no
That's
pressure on it.
definitely
And the
Gee.
interacting aspect with
Social
your, you know, yeah, social, exactly. Let's unpack it. Let's talk about
Let's
let's
unpack it.
Let's unpack it. Let's talk about
It's a lot to unpack,
Yeah.
but-
Let's talk about the homework part of it.
Okay, so if we're gonna do schoolwork,
Yeah.
It was really, really easy, but also difficult between the ages of 14 to 16, 17, 18. Having your own self-discipline is really tough. And so that was something I definitely struggled with going to high school, is like being, you know, self-disciplined enough to actually do my work on time and all this stuff. And I think it was due to the environment. I was at home, I was alone, I had to hold myself accountable. Certain things are required for you to do for your own sake, you know, your own success, these kinds of things. But like I said, it's a lot to unpack, like the social interaction aspect of it. That wasn't so tough for me because I was already a very social, like open kind of kid. And the thing is, I would go to 𝐷𝐐 at the masjid. So I was seeing the kids. I was hanging out with them every weekend. It wasn't like I was missing out on my social interaction in any way. I was just missing out on 5 days or 4 days of it, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd see them at the masjid.
So it was more beneficial for you.
For me as a child growing up,
Right.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I was definitely very impressionable. The environment around me, you know, peer pressure, all that stuff, and it's a very normal thing for kids to be impressionable.
Right. Absolutely.
And I was very impressionable, and so that helped me out making my own path in life, because it takes a certain strength of character
It
to
does.
tell the kids in 𝐷𝐶 that you don't go to high school, and
Yeah.
that you don't hang out with them in these days, and that you don't, you know, experience the same things that they experience,
Right,
but
right.
still be able to like recognize what they're talking about and know what's going on. So it was a blessing, kind of.
I'm glad now you can look back and connect the dots. It's difficult to connect the dots while you're in it.
Yeah,
while
hard,
you're going
very
through.
hard, very hard. I remember one time there was a little interaction that happened between me and my parents where I got, you know, teenage angst. Just,
Right,
you know,
right.
I was really mad, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know, I suck at social interaction. I can't talk. I can't.
You
make
actually
friends.
said that?
I said that to them, but they're like, "Get this
What
guy
are
out
you
of here! What are you
talking
talking about? Go upstairs. Go social interact with your homework. You know, just like get out of here." And I mean, I'm glad they had that reaction.
Right.
You know, to what, because
Right.
I think it was a problem that I was making up in my head.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
my parents know me better than I knew
Yeah.
myself.
So you went to college. Where did you go to college?
So I started off my college journey at Columbus State. Going to college, it was like navigating what I missed in high school again, but at an older age, where the stakes are higher. So if you make a mistake, you're like 19, 18 now.
You feel
can
it
mess
much
up,
more
you're
than you
done. You know what I mean?
You feel it much more than you would have felt.
Much more than you would have felt it when you were 15, 16.
Absolutely.
And so I had to move different. I had to like literally figure things out as I was going. But alhamdulillah, it was a very good, like, you know, part of my life that I'm thankful for. And you know, I did, you know, go away from college for a little bit to, you know, like pursue entrepreneurial and other endeavors that I wanted to do. Alhamdulillah, it was great for me. Now I'm back in school trying to, you know, get back and
What
get
did you
that
want it to
degree.
do?
So what did I so
Entrepreneurship.
it's a lot. It's a lot of things.
Yeah,
to
unpack.
But started off in college. I wanted to like go to psychology.
Okay.
Get in school for psychology. Probably become a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Okay.
So things in that nature. I wasn't able to do that because I saw like, yo, this is hard. I can't do it. I'm good. I'm leaving it alone. And you know, advice for anybody out there you have to know what you're doing when you get into college.
What made you
Is this
back
camera
out?
on?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah, that's on. Yeah.
When you go to college, figure out what you're gonna do, know what you're gonna be getting into. But that was something. So I backed out of it. I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't keep messing, my grades up, and I can't do that. So let me just back up. And
because of the
figure out
school,
what I
that
wanna
kind
do.
of sort of is it because of the school and the work and the amount of work that it takes, or you actually got to experience what other profession, people that in that profession do.
It was more the schoolwork. It was
Okay.
more the workload. It was more social interaction, balance, schoolwork, life balance, all those different things. And you can't work a full-time job, have great social life,
Yeah.
and go to school and be on top of your grades.
Yeah.
A few people can. That's great, but not everybody can. And so that's why you have to kind of figure out who you are and stay in your lane in that regard, right? And so for me, it was like when I went to school, I had to figure out, what can I do and what can I be around, and then what exactly is it that I'm capable of right now? Where do I see myself, and also how much work is involved? You know what I mean? That was tough.
That's right.
I think things go from 0 to 100 real quick, just like that.
Yep.
Because you're in your first week, syllabus week, no work, everybody's chilling. Second week, you got 2 exams, and the thing is. So I know you probably all know this, but for those who don't know about college, it's the first 2 weeks are cool, and then afterwards you have all these assignments, but each class has its own amount of workload. So you might need 3 hours to study for this class, another 3 hours, you're taking 4 or 5 classes. Your time is done. It's over, and it's mentally exhausting.
Absolutely.
There's a lot. So stepping away from that is very important if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Which is why, to this day, if I have little kids ask me about, younger guys ask me about, school and stuff like that, I'm like, hey, do you have what what you're gonna do figured out?
Right.
No. Okay. Well, then take some time off and think about it, because you don't want to go to school without knowing what you want to do.
You're absolutely right. What do you think of people spending some time in college, finding their area of study? What do you think of that?
In terms of figuring out what they want to do
In terms of figuring out while they're in school.
While they're in school.
Yeah.
So it's hard to build a bus and drive it at the same time, and that's what you're doing when you're when you go to college and you don't know what you want to do, but you're taking all these classes and you're like, I'm gonna figure it out at some point. You better be on top of your classes. You better at least whatever it is that you're learning right there.
Right.
You better be doing, because if you're trying to figure it out as you go, you're gonna have a tough time.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do with anything in life. It's hard to figure out something as you go. And the problem, and another thing is also with us is first generation college students, or immigrants, children of immigrants, is there's no role model at home that can tell us about the ins and outs of college, that could give us actual meaningful advice about this kind of stuff. So I think it might be different for inshallah, when I have children, you know what I mean?
Inshallah.
It's gonna be a little different, because I'll know how they need to navigate the college life. But I couldn't say that for my parents, because they've never been to college, so they wouldn't be able to give me meaningful advice. It's just yo, do your work. It's easy. Get it done. And a lot of times it comes from the perspective hey, we didn't have cars, we didn't have buses to go to school to take. You have all this free stuff. You got us taken care of you. Just focus on studies. And it's it's more than that.
It's more than that.
And you wish they'd understand it, but
yeah,
they'll never be able to understand. It's an experience.
I mean, it's not that they don't want to understand. I think that is the gap of your life versus their life.
Yeah.
So the life that they went through, it's somewhat challenging. You stay to you focus on staying on life and focus on producing for lack of a better word, they worry about another mouth to feed, right?
Exactly.
So so and for you, on the other hand, it's just you have all these other options that you can pick and choose from.
Yeah.
And they didn't have it. That so be oh, okay, well, let me tell you when I was your age and things that I have to overcome.
Exactly.
So what are you complaining about? It's nothing, but in your mind, or somebody's your age at the time, in their mind, it's big.
Yeah,
it's huge.
big.
It's
You're
huge.
Right. And there's a great thing for them in that they have a mouth to feed, they have all these children that they have to take care of, they got to get everything done, and they find a lane and stick to it and do it immediately.
Yeah.
With us, we have a little bit of flexibility with hey, I'm coming of age, I'm 23, 22, 21, 19, I'm figuring out as I go, I have to try different things. There's a little bit more room for error, because at the end of the day, you're staying at home with your parents.
Right.
It's not if you make this mistake, a lot, your children are you know what I'm saying, gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the difference of mindset between our parents. But I still think, like I said, it's a difference of lifestyle as well. Whatever is big to you as a child of an immigrant at 22, it can still have the same mental health effect as it would, you know, for your parents if they had children as well. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I look at.
And in Columbus State, did you take any art classes?
I didn't take any art classes. So the thing with me was my art, I was doing it separately from school and the rest of my life.
Okay.
And I was doing that up
Why is that?
So I don't know if you know this, but it's very hard to tell your parents that you're artistic or like you're trying
That's what
to.
You're
trying to. You know what I mean?
You're trying to do an
that
art.
You're trying to be an artist or like a
Yeah.
writer or something like that, which I think to this day is still something I kind of struggle with. You know what I mean? Convincing them of like the utility of me writing a book or poem or something like that,
Right.
to the world, because it's like, hey, are you gonna get me out of the hood? Like, are you gonna build us a house with what you're doing?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be good enough? Like, and that's the thing is with parents, they put this pressure on you where if you're like, you have to be the best at whatever it is you're doing. If you go to school for like being a nurse, you have to be the best nurse in the country. If you want to be a poet, you gotta be the best poet ever. You know what I mean? Every single thing, you gotta be the best of it, and that's fine. That's good expectations to have, and that's a good mindset to build for the person. But it also puts unnecessary amounts of pressure on that person.
The key word, you put it right on the head. It's unnecessary amount of attention, pressure on you, and I think they want what is the best for you. And
100%.
that is the only way that they know
Yeah.
to say, okay, well, you know, you either be like this big shot lawyer,
Yeah.
big shot doctor, big shot accountant, big shot all that,
Yeah.
just so and you can get yourself and other people from, to get to in a better place, right?
Very true.
So and it's a little bit of lack of not allowing the kid to explore too at the same time, right? So and would you believe that if they let you explore a little bit, things will be a little bit different?
I definitely think so. I think like for me personally, I can always speak for myself.
Right.
So with the poetry itself, like it wasn't something that they recognized or that they had like that they were fans of, or that and even to this day they're not like, big fans of it.
Right.
But the support is still there to a degree, to a minute kind of level. I would like, for example, they didn't recognize that my poetry was doing as well as it did until I was part of like an art gallery that was happening in like Dublin, Ohio, where like some white folks were, sipping wine and watching what I was doing, right? And it wasn't just me; it was a group of other people as well. But when that happened, it's like when they said, "Okay, yo, this guy's getting recognition for what he's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's actually good at it, or maybe I should start, kind of supporting him."
Yeah.
And I remember a couple of different times where I've had conversations with my parents that led me to writing really good poems.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that I'm using kind of like their story or whatever for my own self-promotion, but it's like something we all went through together.
Right.
I think like a poem of mine that I wrote, Albert Avenue, that talks about kind of the story of what it's like living in that home, going through that experience. And it's something that when I put out and my parents seen it, especially with the promotional piece that that was done on TV, when they seen that, they were like, oh, okay, so you're actually going somewhere with this. Keep doing your thing. You're doing good. But don't forget to finish school. Don't forget to get your degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like they have their expectations and they'll give you your leeway to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But it's like it's got to always lead back to what they expect. With Albert Avenue, when I'm writing it, I'm thinking I want someone to walk with me through Capitol Park, through what's going on in Capitol Park in that moment. So like when I say Mama raised Einstein on Albert Avenue, beauty in the struggle lifetimes to have a new flight to America, the Lufthansa introduced, settled in a new home, small space, 2 rooms. I'm thinking this person has to see all of these things. They gotta see the road, they gotta see coming to America, they gotta see us living inside this small compartment, 2-bedroom household with 8 people, and like sharing, you know what I'm saying, all these common spaces. And it's a very intimate feeling. It's a true feeling, and it's not just my feeling, it's a feeling of other people who live in that neighborhood as well, which is part of the reason why people can connect with it.
From Columbus State, from where then? Where did you go from there?
So after my Columbus State days, I kind of put school to the side, and I said, hey, you know what, I gotta figure out something else. So I embarked on a journey to go study overseas.
Okay.
Because I heard whispers about people getting IT certifications in India.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, that sounds like a cool deal. I want to step away from school for a little bit, but while I'm away, at least let me go and try to do something where I invest into something else, kind of my future. And so I put some money together and got support from my family, booked it, went to India from, January 2018 to like August 2018. So about 8 months I spent in India. And that time that I was there was a very miserable time because of the environment and the adjustments that I had to make, and like being from America, paying rent, just the dusty heat and all
What
this
part
stuff.
of India did you go?
So I went to Hyderabad.
Okay.
So South India.
Okay.
It's really hot.
Okay.
And I remember I spent my
Tropical hot?
tropical at like certain parts of the year.
Okay.
But the time that I was there was really just summer. It was just hot.
Hot.
And it was like 104 degrees at days. I think towards the end when I was leaving, it started to start raining and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like monsoon season came in.
Okay.
And I think they only have 2 seasons, so it's really hot and it rains sometimes. Like
Okay.
That's the only.
Okay.
That's the only.
Okay.
2 seasons that they have.
So what type of IT degree did you want to go get?
So I went and got several.
Several. Okay.
Several different ones. And it was. I had 8 months, no distractions. Literally, I was in a vacuum of just study, go to sleep, study, go to sleep, study, go to sleep.
What is the life like over there?
I told you it's frustrating. It was a crazy time. So I lived in poverty.
Okay.
But I did that on purpose.
Okay.
So 1, to humble myself, but also 2, to kind of like adjust to the environment around me as a local. So there were people that were able to like find Ubers everywhere and just drive around, eat at expensive restaurants. Those guys were like there with me as well. But I wasn't on that. I was trying to live like a local. So I remember I was living on $2 a day. And I know you got a sheet of paper.
$2 a day.
I know you got a sheet of paper, so write this down.
$2 a day.
Write this down.
All right.
So I'm living on $2 a day.
Okay.
All right. And $2, that's about 70 rupees. So that's 140 rupees. So $2 equals 140 rupees, right? So write that down. 140 rupees, right? And this, I want to give you my day.
Yeah.
Living on $2 a day in India. 140 rupees.
Right.
So I wake up in the morning and I take a bus to my first class.
Okay.
That's 10 rupees less, so minus 10.
Okay.
So now you have 130, right? So 130 and then minus 15 because I take another bus from that class to the other class.
115.
So now I'm at 115, right? Take that 15 and I buy a water bottle, 2-liter water bottle, and I can refill it throughout the day. That's 15 rupees.
Okay,
right
that's
there.
15 rupees.
So that's another 15 rupees right there,
so
right?
you get 100.
So I have 100 rupees.
Right.
Now those 100 rupees, I'm left with. At around 3 p.m., I'm having lunch. So I eat once a day.
Okay.
I spend 60 rupees on lunch. So that leaves me with what?
40
rupees. Now those 40 rupees, either I could, so for 20 rupees, I could buy like a juice drink or something like that.
Okay.
Just a luxury. That was a luxury. That wasn't even like a part of
It wasn't
the
part
plan.
of the day-to-day.
So so say maybe 40 rupees I spend on the luxury, 20 rupees I spend on a luxury drink. I have a remaining what? 20 rupees.
Yeah.
That 20 rupees is the next bus ticket from that school to the house. And so
0.
So now I'm at 0. So that's $2 the whole entire day.
Did that open your eyes in a way that you feel like
Definitely. So there was a lot of things that I didn't appreciate, obviously, being here.
Right.
I think one of the things that I didn't appreciate was worrying about rent at the end of the month. That was something that like I didn't understand or conceptualize, especially when I found a place and I had to pay like every month's rent at the end. Just seeing like a bunch of money go from my pocket to another man's pocket is like, sheesh, you know what I mean? And so that was something that I had to grow accustomed to. After that, it was like, just adjusting to life in another country. I know now for a fact if I go anywhere else, I could probably adjust just like that. Because I mean, I was able to live on $2. I can say that. You know what I mean? That's like
not too many people can say that. I used to live with $2.
$2 a day. Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you still live in a capital?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely still live
How
there,
did it change from where you were to what it is now? Did it change much?
When I first got
when you first got there.
Definitely changed.
Okay.
So it was much more dangerous. It had like a whole reputation behind it.
Yeah.
It was seen as this, and I think that partially came from just like public perception of a neighborhood full of Somalis.
Yeah.
It's like and it was true. There's a lot of things that were happening, but now I think it's much better. I think the neighborhood is much safer. And I think it's a really good environment to like be in.
What do you want to take your poet?
What do I want to take my poetry?
Like how you see yourself in the coming years?
I mean,
You talked about like writing books and stuff like that, and
definitely growth.
yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
growth. I wrote a book.
Okay.
I released a book September 2019. So
Okay. What is it called?
A full year and some change. It's called Temporary Homes.
Temporary Homes.
My poem Albert Avenue is on there. A couple other poems are on there. It's a 15 poem chapbook of kind of just my debut compilation work.
Okay.
And there's definitely going to be another book coming soon, inshallah.
Okay.
I can't like tease it too much right now, but
Okay.
I've definitely been in the works of like writing at different angles, and it's going to be something to really read. It's something worthwhile.
Where can people find this?
So Temporary Homes, you can find it on Amazon. Temporary Homes by Mohamed Warsame.
Okay.
It's my first book. Support it, show it
Okay.
love. And
Absolutely.
I wrote that book actually. So I got the idea when I was in India.
Mhm.
That was one of the things that I was able to, just being in that vacuum, being able to cook up. I was able to write that. A big part of it, and then by the end of the year 2019, I was able to finish it, complete it, and put it out into a body of work. So part of being a good poet is it's just a little secret, but part of being a good poet is there has to be some kind of mystique around what you post, like the amount of poems that you put out. So if I put out too much, it's like, this guy's giving us everything. You know what I mean? What's he keeping? But if I release at a specific amount of times, I think there's a little bit more appreciation.
If you want to say something, and
I'll give you a performance. I'll give you just a closing piece, and then I think that'll be our.
I think that'll be
our
it. Yeah.
So this piece is called Growing Pains.
Okay.
So the Albert Avenue piece is one piece that I've done a lot, but this one's also one of my favorite pieces. It talks about kind of some of the stuff we discussed. Some have questioned my drive when I say that greatness has arrived. See, some strive to thrive, but most try to survive. I ain't happy with my 9 to 5. I ain't content living check to check. And though I ain't a victim to no slave ships, my mama flew here transatlantic planes with wings that stretch farther than plantations. She planned patient plans for her seed to fly from sea to sea. See, she had a vision for us. 10 years max on welfare till we make it to college and study healthcare, so we can move the family from the projects we were placed in, from green cars to clean cars and grocery shopping at Whole Foods instead of having to withhold food. She knew that every moment I spent in school would lead me to being able to measure the rules of this dog-eat-dog world. It's crude because like fools they preach rules they don't even follow through. My 9 years of life was met with shock by the rudimentary rules at elementary schools. The hallways were like a jungle. We weren't meant to survive, and the black kids thought we Africans were beasts who swung on vines, and the little white girls wanted to touch our curls, so we were stuck before hostile mirrors and strangers that were hospitable. No forecast of criminal minds could walk through our lines, because we were all raised by similar minds. And by middle school I had to walk the middle path, trying to balance identities that clashed within my chemistry. Every day a fight between the outer me and inner me. Hip-hop had a place in my mind, while Dooksy was erasing my mind of 5 days worth of glorified crimes. Ignored divine signs, trying to balance the words of God in my mind with verses from Tech 9. High school became a different beast. I see my brothers turn to the streets, some serving the weight away from their faces. A lack of patience turned to self-medication, trying to escape from the demons and perishing beings. It seems mama's dreams flew with the wind. We were gone with the wind. We were the generation who had to go back and change our nation, but we had to prove to white folks we wasn't violent. We had to show mom and dad that we were trying, when on the inside some of us were dying. Suppress passions and sacrifices for the greater good, just to move my family out the hood.
We'll leave it at that.
There we go.
Thank you so
Alrighty.
much. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you. No,
Thank
thank
you.
you.